I heard this 55-year-old woman said that there's this man that she loves. She really like him, but she doesn't know if he's going to be there for her. So she don't want, listen, I don't want to mess this up. So I'm going to do everything to push him away. And if he stays, I know he's the one. And I'm saying, say what? Say that again. She said, I really like him. I think he's the one. I want to marry him. But I'm afraid he's not going to stick around. So I'm doing what I can to push him away. If he stays, I know that he's the one. Maybe it makes sense to her. I don't know. And maybe other women understand that. I don't know. But in the logical mind of men, that doesn't make sense to us. Because in my mind, and I said it to her, well, why don't you just treat him nice? And I'm pretty sure he'll stay. She's like, no, because in the past, I've been so and so, and men have left me. So I want to make sure he's the right one. So I'm doing things to push him away. And so this is 2008. It's now 2023, and I still don't understand the logic behind that at all.
You know why?
So
You know why, Patrick? The reason why
I
you
do
don't
know why,
understand, the reason why you don't understand the logic.
because it's not
It's
logical.
not. It's so like when you have been hurt and you have when you have past hurts and you have not recovered and healed from it, it really causes you to act illogical, and it makes sense to your unstable mind. Because in my mind I was already kind. So that didn't work. So then let me try being mean and maybe that'll work. But it still doesn't make sense. Sometimes again, if you do not have the sound, like a sound sounding board, you will, in your mind you would fix up and make it sound, make you make your nonsense make sense. And it's just not safe.
Right.
So anyway, I do want to say something right there. First of all, me and Patrick had it. Well, I had this pact with Patrick that if he brings up anything from the past, that I always apologize.
That's
Now,
that's
this
not
is
a
the thing. Not to say that he requires it or anything. That's just something that I do because a lot of times when things surface back up, those are things that to me you should not be dismissive of things that your spouse bring up. Because at the end of the day,
well, that means I'm horrible at that then, because I don't do that.
you don't have to do. That's just something that,
But if
like,
you're
it's
giving
not required.
advice, I think it's good advice for all spouses because you said that's something that if your spouse does, that you should do. So I think that's good advice across the board. That if your spouse brings up something in the past that maybe you've done, whether they joking about it or not, offer an apology. But some people will probably be like, I'm not constantly apologizing for that over and over again. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, because it's and again, this is not something that you have to do, but I think that in some cases reassurance is in order. And so I just, again, when I did that hypothetical, I was in a very bad headspace. I was
hmm
looking at a movie, and my past triggered that whole moment. And so I would like to encourage us, especially during this season of life, that is just at your discretion. You can choose to apologize to your spouse when things come up. You will have to read the body language and know the timing, the setting, and all that good stuff. But that's just something that I have chosen to do. That if it's something that I did to offend Patrick or cause him some discomfort or angst, that if he ever brings it up, I end the conversation with reassuring and apologizing again, saying my fault in that. I was in a bad headspace. I'm not telling you to excuse me, but just trying to give some reference to where I was coming from, because again, it could have went totally worse than what it did
hmm
because I was not unhappy. It's just, again, the movie triggered it, and it woke up some past hurts and pains, And I just decided to ask a hypothetical question to my spouse. Because if I had said, hey, I'm unhappy, I'm leaving, like, wait a minute. Well, okay, well, that could have been. Anyway, I did want to say, too, that in marriage, you're going to have emotional earthquakes, and you need to prepare for the fallout.
Emotional earthquakes.
Yeah, like as long as we are living, we are gaining age individually, and then our marriage is gaining ground in years too. And so, who I was when you married me, I'm a different woman now. Like I have matured, or have gotten stronger, and in some cases, you're at that we women be at that space and time, and men too, be in a time of space of change and insecurity. We realizing that our mortality is real, that we're exiting, and things that we should have finished, we maybe didn't finish. Some things that we want to get accomplished it's like it's out of reach now. And so we'll start doing harmless and reckless things to the very person that's closest to us, our spouse, or even sometimes children. And to be even honest, even to ourselves, we hadn't really learned how to work through and have put words to these emotions. So one of the things that's coming to my mind is, in your marriage during this time, use your words. Use your words, like actually be honest enough to say, acknowledge the feeling that you're feeling. I think that when we try to suffocate it and hide it and tuck it away and act like it's not happening, that makes things worse. But it's something about when we can connect emotionally, like we experience emotional intimacy, where I can say, Patrick, I'm afraid out of my mind. For whatever reason, I don't know where it came from, but I did see something, or maybe I heard a song, or maybe it was a fragrance, or I don't know, maybe it was just a mental reel that maybe went on in my head that's making me so afraid, and I need to feel connected. I feel disconnected, or I feel isolated. I feel alone, even though I have you all here with me. So these are things that you may need to say and share with your spouse. Especially if you all are there. If you know that it has been, if you are in a turbulent marriage, like your spouse has checked out, and maybe they're not there to provide you the emotional stability that you need, maybe you need to communicate, I need you there emotionally. Our financial commitments, they're solid. Our parental, they're solid. You may even have physical touch, it's secure, meaning that you all are sharing sexual intimacy on a regular basis. So that's healthy. But just being able to express how you really feel about what you are experiencing in your marriage, maybe you're not there yet, and maybe you need to say it. If you cannot communicate that to your spouse at this time, then maybe you should seek counseling or therapy, because that needs to be healed and recovered to
Right.
find out why you can't communicate with your spouse. For the full unedited version of the podcast, consider becoming a Patreon member for as little as $5 a month. With the membership, you will gain access to be able to ask questions during a live podcast. So click the link below to join now.